Hey everybody, my name's Greg. Welcome to the Stealth Project. Hey everybody, so this is going to be first of a series of videos going over the build process that I'm going to be working on in the next couple of months. Basically what I have here is I've got a 1993 Dodge Stealth Twin Turbo that I've pretty much built from the ground up. The car itself was given to me by a friend. He had bought the car with a blown motor and with the intentions of doing nothing more than just parting it out. I had bought a lot of parts from him over time, and then when basically it came down to he had nothing really left to sell, he was going to send it off to the crusher. So I ended up getting a hold of him, looking for a few more parts, and he said if I wanted anything else, come out and get it because he's getting ready to send it off to the crusher. So we worked things out, and I ended up taking the car off his hands. Went out there with a friend of mine and his two-wheel dolly, hooked up to Montero, and hauled the car back to my house. It was in pretty bad state when I got it. There was no motor, no drivetrain really. Interior was completely gone out of the car. The car was originally a gloss black, Mitsubishi gloss black, and somebody had taken spray paint all over to it, trying to turn it to a gray. So one of the interesting things to point out is that when I was working on the car and building it up, I didn't have a garage at the time. The house I was living in just had a very large driveway, so all the work I was doing was basically outside. I owned a 92 Dodge Stealth that I converted over. It was a front-wheel drive car, a non-turbo car, and I converted it over to twin turbo motor. Just basically took the 10-to-1 block and converted it over, swapped turbos on everything else. So I had the motor at the time, so I pulled the motor out of that car, and that's what I ended up putting in this one here. So it was a 10-to-1 twin turbo block, which was a lot of fun. But as time went on, I started to have more tuning issues with it, trying to tune out knock and stuff like that. So I ended up building a completely new motor. But back onto the build of this, so yeah, I built the entire car myself, used a lot of the parts off my 92 because they're completely swappable over the non-turbo car. And swapped them over this frame because I've always wanted an all-wheel drive twin turbo. So once the car was basically up and running mechanically, one of the next things to tackle was the paint job on it. I'm not a painter by any means, and being with it being outside, it was going to be a kind of a hassle to try to do anything pristine, show quality wise on it. Not like I'd be able to pull anything off like that anyway. So what I ended up doing was I ended up building my own little paint booth outside. Just basically it was a canopy I'd set up with plastic all the way around it. Built my own little frames to hang parts on. And I picked up some flat black one-stage paint from Napa. It was their professional custom coating paint. And sprayed it on, and it looked amazing. It really looked good at the time. The car was really had a nice sheen to it. The flat black sort of had sort of a silverish look to it at some point when the sun hit it right. But one of the main problems was, with it being a single stage paint, was I didn't put a clear coat on it. And with no clear coat, then the UV rays were basically, from the sun, were basically beating the car to death because it stayed outside the entire time. I didn't have a garage at the time. So after about a year or so, I noticed that the paint was starting to cloud and starting to haze up some, and that's when I knew that this paint wasn't going to last. I had my doubts with the paint to begin with. I didn't think I was going to get more than like 5 years out of it anyway, but I was hoping it would last more than a year, which it didn't. So as time went on, the paint continued to get worse and worse, so I knew I needed to make some plans at some point to finally break down and repaint the car. The good thing is that the paint itself has really good adhesion to the underpaint. I made sure that when I did spray, I did a very good job of prep work on it, sanded all the panels down, everything like that. So I've got really good adhesion on it. So I have a very good base coat to spray on top of when it comes time to repaint the car. So that's the main purpose of this project, is getting the car completely stripped down, engine pulled out, and to do a complete color change on it. When I did the flat black on it, I didn't do the door jambs, I didn't do the hatch area. I did do the engine bay portion in a different type of black. I did it sort of more of a gloss. That paint held up pretty good, but it just, if I'm going to do it in a full color change on it, I want to make sure that I do the engine bay over again. So I'll be working on that also. So it'll be pretty much a complete strip down car. And there's a bunch of other things I'm going to be knocking out too. Some wiring, wire tuck, a few other little projects. I've got some parts that I've been stockpiling that I've been wanting to throw on the car while it's all apart. So that's where we're at. So basically what we'll be starting off now is the complete breakdown of the car. I want to start by pulling the exterior panels off, the front bumper, hood, fenders. I get the motor pulled out, and then I can mark some spots. There's some bolt holes and some studs and stuff like that inside the engine bay I want to get cleaned up, sort of not completely shaved, but I want to get them filled in. So when I do the paint, I don't have a bunch of excess holes everywhere for things I don't need, because there are some things on it that I've deleted from the engine, cruise control, stuff like that. Starting off, I'll start the breakdown on the front end of the car. We'll get the motor pulled out. We'll start prepping on the engine bay and get the engine bay set up to get painted. So even with the condition of the paint, it never really stopped me from taking the car out. I still took it to every single show I could find. Took it to the mountains to some of our gatherings a few times. It's won a bunch of awards for basically unique modifications. Took on the Killboy Award, I think 2 years in a row. So we got the hood off here, and I just wanted to give you guys a quick look and show you here what I was talking about. I'm referring to the some of the stuff I wanted to clean up. As you can see on the back firewall there, I've got maybe a couple bolts hanging out, not attaching really anything at all. Same with the other wheel well here. Just a few other things. Just want to clean those bolt holes up, fill them in. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go around and I'm going to mark all the spots where I know I'm going to fill those bolts in. Probably with just like blue tape, just tape over little pieces just to mark them. Taken to tracks many times, Darlington, Rockingham, Virginia National Raceway, Corvette Raceway in Bowling Green, Kentucky, autocross, drag strip, road course, anything. I've always had it on the track every chance I could get, and it's performed great. So just a quick update of where we're at right now. So we got the front fenders, hood, front bumper off. Working on the other driver's side fender here. When I pulled it off, I found the whole bottom end here just full of leaves and just a bunch of other garbage. The passenger side one was wet too. Luckily there was still paint on the back side, so I don't think there's any rust on that, but it looks like a pretty common problem with these front fenders is the bottom portions here rusting out due to water and garbage and everything just sitting down in there like this. For these here, these fenders have probably been on here for about 3 years now, I would say, since the last time I pulled them. It's probably when I did the paint. So that's about 3 years worth of garbage sitting there. One thing I did notice is that this little section, let's see if I can get this on camera, right up in here, as this portion here mounts to the actual frame on the car, this section here is wide open. which basically just leaves you a giant hole, because the whole top portion of the firewall there below the windshield collects leaves right there by the hinges, and all that stuff just blows down in there eventually. So we're going to have to see about filling that stuff in, so the next time we mount these fenders up, that we don't get all this garbage sitting in here to rust the bottom of these fenders out. So it's 9:30 at night now, pretty much calling it quits tonight. Where we stand so far, we've got the front bumper pulled, the front fenders pulled, hoods pulled off. Side skirts had to come off also because of getting to the access points for the front fenders, so we've had to pull side skirts off. But they're coming off anyway, so it doesn't really matter with that. So we're to the point right now where I'll be getting ready to pull the motor out. Getting ready to disconnect the drivetrain, exhaust, all that sort of stuff. But one thing I need to make a decision on here soon is whether or not I want to reinstall the AC system. I pulled out the AC system this year due to issues I was dealing with the pulley system, with the pulley and the drive belt and everything. Even though I put brand new pulleys in, I was always having issues with it squealing, just making noise. But when I start to do the engine shave, or the cleaning up the engine bay area, welding up the bolt holes and stuff like that, some of those mounts are for the AC system, for the lines and stuff like that. So if I'm going to reinstall the AC system, then we make up my mind on it before I go in there and weld those holes up. So I'll be thinking about that tonight. But as for now, pretty much done where we're at. Pick up first thing in the morning. We'll get out here and we'll start getting stuff pulled off the engine, getting it all disassembled, probably get it set up to get the engine pulled. Probably not tomorrow, but soon.